So you want to stop worrying and start living? In that case, you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Chris, I'm a doctor. This is the best book I've ever read on managing anxiety. If you like quotes such as "our main business is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand," you'll love this book. That came from Thomas Carlyle, who seemingly led a life free from worry. The main point of this book is to take one day at a time, perhaps you'd say one grain of rice at a time. Focus on a day and don't let it pass you by. This guy, Sir William Osler, he in fact mentioned day-tight compartments in which you would just live one day until bedtime and not stew about other things. There's a difference between concern and worry. Concern means realizing what the problems are and calmly taking steps to meet them. On the other hand, worry means going around in maddening, futile circles. So if you've got concern, there's a magic formula of 3 that Willis H. Carrier proposed. Firstly, ask yourself, what is the worst that can possibly happen if I can't solve my problem? Second, be prepared to accept that problem if you have to. And third, calmly then proceed to improve on the worst. It's actually worth reminding yourself it's really important to overcome worry, otherwise it can be damaging to your health. There's a saying that businessmen who do not know how to fight worry die young. Therefore, break the worry habit before it breaks you. So, in essence, wipe the things that you can't control from your mind and don't spend time worrying about them. A saying is don't sow sawdust. So how can you manage worry? Well, firstly, get the facts. Half the worry in the world is caused by people trying to make decisions before they have sufficient knowledge on which to base a decision. Secondly, carefully weighing up all of the facts. And you do that, you weigh the facts up, and then you come to a decision. And thirdly, once a decision is reached, act. Get busy carrying out your intentions and dismiss all anxieties about the potential outcome. And it's important to analyse these problems. If you or your associates attempted to worry about a problem, instead think about writing it down and answer the following questions. What's the problem? What's the cause? What are the possible solutions? And then what is the best solution? And whenever you're tempted to throw good money after bad, instead, again, ask yourself questions. Lots of questions to ask yourself, I must add. How much does this thing really matter to me? And at what point is my stop loss, i.e. when I would just say it's sunk costs and forget about it? And thirdly, exactly how much I should pay. And have I already paid more than something is actually worth? So never try to get even with enemies. If we do, we just hurt ourselves far more than we could potentially hurt them. Instead, do what General Eisenhower did, which is never to waste a minute thinking about people that we don't like. Happiness is from within. It's not a matter of externals. Think about what you have, not what you want. So therefore count your blessings. To adjust yourself to what is, you want to do that and not try to adjust yourself to what you desire. Because if you can think cheerfully, you'll actually act cheerfully and feel cheerful. Remember, it's important not to expect gratitude. Often people think they've done something, why isn't somebody grateful? But if you can look into the Bible, in fact, Jesus healed 10 lepers in one day, and only one of them stopped to thank him. Therefore, why should we expect more gratitude than Jesus got? And following on with religious leaders, Prophet Muhammad once defined a good deed, and that is one that brings a smile of joy to the face of another. And if you can do one good deed every day, putting that smile of joy on somebody's face, it'll actually have profound, astonishing effects, not just to those around you, but to you yourself. Because if you're thinking about how to give happiness to somebody else, it stops us worrying too much and thinking about ourselves, which is often a cause of worry and fear. Because if you're interested in helping others, then really you're not having that emptiness thinking about your own life. And then in fact, you can make lots of friends and have fun by showing genuine interest in others' health and happiness. And be sure, obviously, to treat them as individuals, not a cog in a machine. Because doing good to others is not a duty. Don't think it's a duty, it's in fact a joy. There was a nice tale about a lady who became popular by basically asking people about themselves at dinner parties and their ideas, experiences, plans for the future. She didn't actually do this because she was overly interested in those questions, but by asking them became interested. What she was doing that for was because she was feeling as if her clothes were poor and inadequate and wanted to distract attention away from herself. Therefore, she found doing that as a process, she actually became very popular and gave happiness to people. Faith is often spoken about in terms of anxiety, and there's a very useful quote from Henry Ford, and it was that, did you ever worry? And he said, no, I believe God is managing affairs and that he doesn't need any advice from me. With God in charge, I believe that everything will work out for the best in the end, so what's there to worry about? Remember, if you're ever kicked or criticised, that it's often done because it gives the kicker a feeling of satisfaction and importance. It often means that you've actually accomplished something and are worthy of attention. There's a saying to remember that no one ever kicks a dead dog, and the more important the dog is, the more satisfaction people get from kicking it. So I'm not saying that you should ignore all criticism. Biased, helpful, constructive criticism is useful, but just ignore unjust criticism. The book describes putting up an umbrella and letting criticism just rain off. There's an old German motto which is just laugh, and that's also very good if you're the victim of unjust criticism, because you can answer a man who answers back, but what can you say to somebody who then just laughs? We rarely get tired when we're doing something interesting and exciting. However, when you're doing something that isn't interesting or exciting, you can still deliberately select the right thoughts, focus on the good aspects, and if you actually think in the right thoughts, you can make any job better. The right thoughts will take your mind off your worries and in turn, in the long run, perhaps lead to a promotion and better pay. Even if it doesn't do that, it'll reduce the fatigue to a minimum and hopefully help you enjoy the work which you otherwise wouldn't enjoy. Because if you go in with the attitude that you won't enjoy it, you most certainly won't. But if you can focus on what you would gain from it, then you may find that even a dull task can give you some satisfaction. There's a bit about managing finances, and in essence, be sure not to increase your headaches when your income increases, and be sure to teach your children a responsible attitude towards money. If there is a problem on your mind, try to practically manage this. So think precisely what the problem is, the cause of the problem, and then do something constructive to solve the problem, just as I've suggested before here. And remember, when you are solving a problem, you need to get the facts necessary to make the decision, and then once you've made the decision, don't keep it off, putting it off, take action. So be yourself, and I hope you have the serenity to accept the things that you cannot change, the courage to change the things that you can, and more importantly, the wisdom to tell the difference. Hope you found that helpful. Feel free to comment below, like, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time.